G'day, g'day.
Hello, everybody.
KJ and Swiley here with another episode of UnMaddening for you. Today we are unmaddening a word that really annoys us, actually, like many of these do, because it's been this word has been just completely manipulated to mean something that it doesn't, as they do with all the words. Take them and destroy them and use them as slanderous nonsense. Backstory for today's word. Homophobic keeps getting thrown around. Homophobia as a term. It's just, no, wrong. No.
That doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't. No. Smiley's got a good little breakdown of that for us in a minute. But phobia is our word for the day. So let's have a look at the definition because that's important. What was the
word again?
Phobia.
Phobia.
Yes. Yes.
One of those.
One of those. A phobia, its definition is an extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something. Very important. It's an extreme or irrational fear or aversion.
Yes. It doesn't make any sense when you say, well, let's call it the Gen woke word.
Yes.
Yep. Which is another term for Gen Z.
Yes.
But homophobic, it does not make any sense at all. Homo meaning same, or if you're talking about a Homo sapien.
Yep.
And hetero meaning different. That's the Greek word for it. So, and phobia, as we know, you've given the
it's
definition.
An extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something. So it has to be extreme or irrational.
So
and it needs to be a fear or an aversion.
You can't be scared of homosexuals.
No.
It just does not make any sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. I don't like it.
Wrong.
There are other similar words to phobia here in the list, like dread, horror, loathing, distaste, revulsion, these sorts of words. And they're not like, they're akin to it and you could throw them in there in a sentence and that'd be fine. But we're talking about phobia, which again, phobia, an extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something. That's just not that's not what I'm seeing depicted when this term is being used. That's just driving me insane.
Well, phobic stuff like, let's say, for instance, something that's hydrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
It has an aversion to water.
Mm-hmm. Aversion was in the definition. That's perfectly acceptable.
Right, yeah. The proper word, I suppose, if you're just looking at homophobic as a word used, would be homomissa, maybe? Missia? Homomisia?
Missia being
being a hatred, a dislike.
Right. Well, that's not nice.
No, but you can't put everyone into that box just because they don't agree with something.
And it's also not nice to say that somebody is phobic of something if they aren't. Like, use the word correctly first and don't just assume that you know whether or not I do or do not have an extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something. How rude.
If you dislike something, then you just dislike it or you don't agree with it, or really, to be honest, it's not.
Urban Dictionary definitions of phobia.
Go on then.
A word originally intended to denote a concrete fear or anxiety. Recently, it is primarily used to target opposition opinions and promote a new version of free speech that censors all the bad opinions. And who decides what the bad opinions are? Yes.
GW.
Yes. Also, phobia. Psychologically induced irrational fear of something that should not be all that scary. In common usage, phobia is nothing more than something to accuse others of having when one wants to discount their opinions and be excused to behave in a way that they think is wrong. Well, thanks for that, Urban Dictionary. So while I was looking at phobia, we were having a bit of a chat of all these new phobias that seem to appear out in the world in the new generation. So in particular, I was looking at like your Gen Zers. Sorry, guys, people aged between 13 to 28 currently falling into this category. And I found these different articles about new phobias that have recently come to light and have been given names, and people are claiming them and wearing them as a badge of honor that they have said phobia. Selfie phobia is on that list. Obviously, fear of taking a photograph of oneself. You have fear of forgetting to renew a domain name, which is expirophobia.
Spirophobia.
There's fear of yoga, stretchophobia. Fear of phobics is on the list as a new one,
Can you
which
use
is weird.
expirophobia if you're just scared of eating expired meat?
Well, maybe if you misuse it for its apparent new definition. There's threadophobia, fear of commenting on a story, and that's why I'm pointing at the Gen Zers. Sorry, all, but they feel like they're very in that age bracket. I'm afraid.
Just have to label everything.
I also found in a little Googleizer here, when I looked specifically for Gen Z, facing unique fears and anxieties, including financial insecurities, social anxiety, and a reluctance to engage in certain activities like phone calls. And that one had a phobia name as well, telephobia, fear of phone calls. A notable number of Gen Zers find phone calls anxiety-inducing, potentially due to the lack of nonverbal cues and the fear of making mistakes. Wowzers.
I've got another one for you. Nomophobia.
Yeah, what's that one?
It's the fear of losing your smartphone.
Are you
It's a
serious?
real one. I just looked it up.
FOMO on a new level.
You're a nomophobic.
Okay. I've got FOMOphobia, whatever that is. What else did I have here in these
Have you got
lists?
some of those rare ones? Because that's where I came from my list.
I did. Let me see. So I've got a list here which somebody has put a heap of them in alphabetical order. So give me a letter of the alphabet. Most of the letters are on here. So let's see how we go.
Okay.
Give me a letter and I'll see what comes up.
Let's go Z.
Oh, you're so annoying. It's probably one that doesn't have one.
Yeah, it does have one because I looked it up.
Well, it doesn't on this list, okay?
Yeah,
This is an Urban Dictionary list.
Go
Pick
on.
another letter.
W.
There's no W. Pick another letter. And if you don't get it right this time, I'll have to just pick one for you.
An S.
S. All right. Fear of shadows is under S. Sciophobia. Fear of school. Fear of the moon, which is selenophobia. You've got fear of learning. That's sophophobia. Yes, just a few in the S list, in the S category, interestingly enough.
The fear of learning. You just want to be unlearned all your life.
Mm-hmm. So when I had a little bit more of a look about what are the factors that contribute to these new phobias and fears that this generation is experiencing, we've got, lo and behold, media and social media at the top of the list. What a surprise. Exposure to media content, including apocalyptic films, books and games, and the compulsive use of social media can contribute to anxiety and a sense of dread about the future. Social anxiety in the digital age. The shift towards digital communication can exacerbate social anxiety. I can't pronounce things. You need to put that other word on for me in a minute too. The one I can't pronounce.
The one you can't pronounce. I can't pronounce it either. So.
Gen Z may feel less comfortable with face-to-face interactions and the pressure to be constantly, quote, online, unquote.
So there's a lot more phobias coming out now, which gets onto your word that you're talking about.
Yes.
Is it because of, like you're reading here, is a lot of it's because of the social media and that, or is it because, we are becoming de-skilled on how to communicate and how to actually just go and be perseverant in certain aspects of life?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
I don't like snakes, and I don't have a phobia of them, but well, maybe a little bit. Just the poisonous ones.
Well, what was the definition?
You go out and
do you think that is
arachnophobia.
extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something? Is it extreme?
Because it will kill me.
Exactly. So it isn't irrational.
It's
and
a healthy
it's
fear.
not
It's a healthy
extreme.
understanding. It's a healthy respect.
Therefore, not a phobia because it has
I
to
like
be
sharks, but
extreme.
I wouldn't go and poke one in the dorsal fin.
Okay. Well, that's probably just good advice for everybody out there. Where's your fear of long words one, which is just like the most ridiculous word, which I cannot pronounce. I'm not going to try.
One of them is a fear of everything as well.
A fear of everything?
Yeah.
Something or other phobia.
Just a fear of
everything
having
a phobia.
A phobia of having phobias. But this word,
see if you can
which
pronounce
we
this
cannot
one,
pronounce
people.
it. I'll slow it down in a minute, but this is the word.
Hippopotamonstrosusquipedaliophobia.
which means the fear of long words.
Yes.
So it's just quite a cruel
But
name, to be honest.
it's nice to have your diagnosis. You've got a fear of long words.
But
to
you
be
can't pronounce it.
An incredibly long word. But we'll just
Slow it
down
Try
so
again.
we can.
I'll try and read it at the same time.
Hippopotamonstrosusquiptaliophobia.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Now,
I have a fear of that word.
I think I may have this because that's an extremely long word and I can't say it.
Do you fear or have an aversion to it?
It's not irrational.
Is it extreme?
It's not extreme.
How do we classify
but
this?
I think this word is extreme.
It's a bit much. I don't disagree with you there. Okay, so it's interesting that we've got all these new phobias and that the evidence is showing that it's due to a lot of these outside factors that can't really be escaped. Some other factors contributing to phobias, not just for your Gen Zs, everybody that might have a phobia, and I don't mean to be diminishing them, there are genuine ones. It's just fascinating that there are so many new ones just coming out of the woodwork. Genetic predisposition is a factor, of course. Life experiences, like negative experiences with a particular object or situation that then lead to that fear.
Like learned behaviour.
Yeah, well, learned behaviour is the next one on here. Can also be learned from observing others or through conditioning. And then we've got some treatment options for phobias like exposure therapy, gradual exposure to the snake. Okay, you're going to be all right. Gradually exposed in a safe and controlled environment. You can also do cognitive behavioural therapy, help individuals to identify and challenge negative thoughts and beliefs that contribute to their phobia. And then there's also things like medications that some people might use to help them with their phobias. Yes?
I said the word before, phobia.
Yes.
Right? And I was joking. I didn't think it was real. I thought, I wonder what a fear of having a phobia is.
Mm-hmm.
It's called phobia.
Mm.
It's a fear of being afraid. You might be scared of a physical symptom that comes with fear, or feel worried that you could develop a phobia. And these are phobia.
Wow. Goodness gracious. There's a lot of them out there. It looks like a significant percentage of your Gen Zers are coming down this pathway of developing these things or claiming to have these things, some of which are just like so they can wear it like a badge of this is my excuse or this is my label or whatever.
Yeah, some of them are that, you have a need to label something.
Yeah.
You need a Dr. Google it.
Yeah.
You need to, this is why I
Yeah,
do this or
explaining
don't do this,
away
or
a
I choose
particular.
not to do this. At the end, it is choices. There is genuine medical reasons people have these phobias.
Yeah, but there are. And you're diminishing those people that do have these genuine phobias when you just want to slap a label on yourself.
Yeah, the treatment for phobias is desensitization. Go and expose yourself to these phobias. And
yeah. We can't just be trying to modify our interactions with people because they did a BuzzFeed quiz and the BuzzFeed quiz says that they have a phobia of X, Y, and Z and whatever else. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Never mind that. How about you actually go and see a medical professional? And perhaps we could encourage a little bit of resilience, drive, and human compassion. So you're not expecting people to bend over backwards to adapt the way that they're living their lives, perhaps with their own phobias, to accommodate this one you've just made up about, you don't like answering the phone, so now you're phobic of it.
Just don't like
calm your phone a little
bit.
Calm.
Ring, ring. Hello?
Oh, dear. Fear of failure and uncertainty, climate change and environmental concerns also seem to be a big factor that's upsetting them. Mental health concerns, a rise in mental health issues in Gen Z, including anxiety and depression because of the pressure of social media and constant exposure to news and, of course, gun violence. Got to get that one in there. Yeah,
that's
gun
a
violence
new one. That's one of the
terrifying.
most gun violence Gen Z have got the most phobia of gun violence. It's one of the highest phobias of gun violence.
Apparently, they've had the most exposure to gun violence. Therefore, that does lead to these sorts of fears and safety concerns about it. Apparently, according to the...
Let's just forget about World War I and World War II then.
Well, yeah, but it's a different kind of exposure because you've got, your online stuff, all the footage that you can find, plus video games and so on. I don't know. It's just what the interweb told me. That's all I'm saying there. Yeah. Anyway, what can you do about that? Not a whole lot.
There is some people that have genuine phobias and they've gone through the desensitization and they can't do that, and there's obviously medical reasons, or is just definitely a psychological reason that they can't handle that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of persevering people that I know that have phobias to certain things that you just think, well, how did they not get past it? And it's not because they can't. It's just
not
the
through lack
way-
of trying.
Not through lack of trying.
Which seems to be
And-
the other mentality that we're not encouraging here is you should be trying. If you genuinely have something going on like that, don't just whack a label on it. How about we try and get some help and move past it? And don't be so quick to look for a label. Why do you need to do
Exactly.
It's such a modern thing. Let's remember the definition. It needs to be an extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something. Don't be throwing it around willy-nilly where it doesn't make sense and using it as a mean thing to say to somebody else. It's nice to be nice, just being nice. And on that, vintage culture appreciation. Hey, Swiley, do you remember when comedians were actually funny? When you need your cricket chirping sound effect. When was that?
When was that?
Look, they used to be, and there's still some cool ones that are out and about, but mostly not anymore.
No. The joke comes out and
Yeah.
that's the one you were looking for.
Or the laughter is this sort of, you must laugh because if you didn't laugh, then you wouldn't have been woke because you didn't laugh at the joke.
Bit of canned laughter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly right. So would you like to be reminded of some awesome ones
Go on then.
from the 80s? Robin Williams. Hey? Eddie Murphy. Ellen was actually also on this list, which I found at wheeljackslap.com,
Did you
as in
say
Ellen
Ellen?
DeGeneres. Yeah. But I haven't actually seen her stand up, so I don't even know if it was funny, but she was on the list. Jerry Seinfeld. Then if you go into the 90s, you got Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, my personal favourite, Adam Sandler. Love me some Sandler. Martin Lawrence, Drew Carey. These are some funny people. Actual jokes that are not so concerned about whether or not they're offending one person or a group of people or whatever, because that's literally what comedy is supposed to be. Like, it's funny. It's an uncomfortable truth.
You know, some of those
observational
jokes now
humour.
are regulated. Like, so definitely like with the universities and things like that. No, you can't say jokes about this. You can't say jokes about this. You can't.
Do you remember that episode of Community? The TV show Community, where they're going to have a comedian come in, but there's so much controversy around the fact that this person makes jokes that offend a group of people, so there's this big fuss of, well, we can't have him, and they're like, well, this is supposed to be free speech though, and comedy is supposed to be funny, so we need to have him, and a couple from the 2000s as well were Ricky Gervais and Sarah Silverman, who I don't personally think is that particularly funny. That was on a magazine.com website article about the best of 2000s comedians. And none of the other names I knew. So I was like, boring, next. Obviously didn't make my radar. But yes, the list continued to thin. And certainly in our last couple of ventures to any kind of a comedy festival or a show or something, and we haven't been for a few years because the ones we went to prior were just getting less and less enjoyable.
Yeah, it's become less about the comedy and more about pushing an agenda.
Yeah, it's all this the PC stuff, politically correct jokes, and
Well, not even that, but just go on the total opposite end of things and go, well, this is controversial to hear about, or you're pushing an agenda and just throw it down everyone's face. And it's like, nah, not interested in that.
Yeah. If you go back in time, boundary pushing and hurting feelings via the boundary push through comedy is exactly what all those comedians were doing, and that's why they were so well known.
But it wasn't
and appreciated.
That. It wasn't that. It was just, you're going to hear my opinion, and this is why you're all
in modern
disgusting
ones.
people.
Yeah. All right, just before we wrap it up, another definition for you. This is just like a bonus word of the day. Just a little bit lucky, and it's comedian. Okay.
Bonus word.
Comedian, an entertainer on stage or television whose act is designed to make an audience laugh. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want out of him. It just doesn't seem to really be happening anymore. And then I've got two from Urban Dictionary for you, also for comedian.
Yep.
Someone who makes people laugh at the expense of their will to live. I was like, that's dark, because there is an awful lot of the comedians out there who have suffered from mental health problems and Rest in peace, Robin Williams. Good example. Just because you're laughing on the outside and you can make everybody else laugh doesn't mean that you're feeling all that good on the inside. And the second definition, comedian is someone who is supposed to be funny. Supposed to be. And are they anymore? I don't know. Don't think so. If you got any recommendations for some that exist now that are actually humorous that I didn't already list,
No.
let me know.
It's a bit hard.
Let us know.
I got lots of whinges.
That last definition was actually written by somebody on Urban Dictionary. Their handle, like their username, was "I hate political correctness." I was like, yes, very well.
well
Good
done.
job. Good job. On that note, that was fun. Hope nobody has any new phobias that they're just figuring out today or having diagnosed. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time, I guess. And until then, God bless and peace out.
This content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. We are not comedians, physicians, PC police, or politicians. You are not more likely to suck less or try harder having listened to these shenanigans.